Hello everybody, I'm Steve Worley, owner of the Worley Fly Company, and this is our fly tying video series. Today I'm going to show you how to tie the Rolling Stone. So the Yakima River here in central Washington is our home waters, and it's full of stonefly nymphs. We have 7 major stonefly hatches throughout the year, basically going from February till the end of October. So stonefly nymphs in a variety of sizes and colors are great searching patterns to use on the river almost on a year-round basis. So this one is designed on a very sharp, strong emerger hook, and it's kind of a stubby stone. It's built so when a real stonefly is broken loose from the substrate floating down the river, they're not typically floating on a straight line or a projectile like tied on a regular shank hook. This one is a curved with a super sharp point on it. It's a Komodo 2488 size 6. You can tie them in 8s and 10s too if you like them smaller, in a wide variety of different colors. So let's get going on the Rolling Stone. All right, so let's get started here. I've already loaded the 2488 size 6 into my vise and attached a slotted tungsten bead in mottled brown. It's 5/32. Tungsten twice as heavy as brass, so no real need to put any lead on this fly. It will sink like rock. So I'm using some GSP thread here. This is 50 denier, super strong, almost, unbreakable really. And you want to run your thread base down. I did it just to save on a little bit of time. And you want to go well past the end of the shank here with this fly, just because there isn't a lot of room there to build the fly. And you have a great big giant bend here with a super sharp point that's going to give you ample room there for hooking ability. So once you get to the stopping point here with your thread too, you want to make a half hitch just so it stays tight and doesn't move around on you there. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a little dubbing loop here on the back. And like I said in the introduction, you can tie this, in the Skwala version, which I'm doing today. You can tie it for salmon flies, you can tie it for goldens, yellow sallies, and our big summer stones that we have as well. So you just have to manipulate the colors to your liking. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this ice dub. This is UV light olive. Man, you got to watch that point because they are sticky. It's a super great hook. So you're going to form a little dubbing here on the thread, and we're just going to wrap it and make a ball on the back. This is kind of really for aesthetic purposes, for tying in your biots. So we're going to take these 2 turkey biots. You're going to want to lay them in here, get them centered where they're spaced accordingly to your size, and make a few thread wraps. And then same thing on this side here. Make sure they're even. The reason we do that is with that thread ball is just to keep a spacing on them so they're splayed apart evenly. And I doubt that the trout would care, but in fly tying, it's kind of an aesthetic thing. We like to tie good flies, and the better flies that we tie, the better they fish when we put them together. Confidence is the name of the game here. So if you build a really good fly, you're more confident when you're fishing it. So better to take your time, tie a good, well-rounded fly with good proportions, and you'll find, I think, a lot more success with it. So the next we're going to take a piece of copper wire. We're going to lay this in and we're going to bind it down. This 50 denier thread, it's super strong. It doesn't build up, a big thread base or a bunch of thread on your fly. So it's really nice, super strong. I mean, I've broken bobbins with it before. So, and you can see just a few thread wraps and it secures all your material in place. So it's a great thread for tying. Unfortunately, it doesn't come in a lot of different colors, but you can always build your fly with this. It comes in black and white, in 30 and 50 denier, and then goes up from there. And this is the Vivus brand, and then Ultra UTC does it all the way up to 200 denier. But you can always build your fly with this and then finish it off with whatever color thread you like. It just gives you an option there, is all. If you don't want to have a black thread head or a white. So after you've tied that wire in, just lay it to the side. And the next thing that we're going to do is grab an emu feather. And you want the back side of it. You want to pick an emu feather too that's got, that's fairly wide. And this is going to be the back of our stonefly. And it's nice because it's, we'll get those legs sticking out, and it really, those barbills, and it looks like a lot of egg. It just makes the fly really buggy looking. So we'll tie that in, and then eventually that'll be pulled over the top like that. Okay, so now you can start by forming your body and applying your dubbing. And again, this is the eye stub in light olive UV. It's a good skwala color. We have a really, really good hatch of squalas on the Yakima here in central Washington. It's one of our biggest bases of aquatic stoneflies. Those and our summer stones, really, really big populations of them. So fish eat a lot of them throughout the year. So like I was saying in the introduction, a stonefly is always a good searching pattern on the river just to find and locate fish. So we can start right back there on the back where we tied in our biots and just start moving that thread forward and that dubbing. Move up about 3/4 of the way. This is a stonefly nymph, so you want to have kind of a bulky, not a huge body, but something that's going to represent a bigger insect. So we'll make a few wraps with dubbing on here. Till we get the body where we like it, and then move your thread all the way to the front there of the end of the body, and then we're going to pull the emu feather up over the top, and we're going to bind that stem down, and then you can get in there close and chop it out. And you can see it's giving us our back on our stonefly nymph, plus you get all these little barbells sticking out. It's going to make it real buggy looking, like legs or part of the body. So we'll finish tying that down. And then just so we can secure this in place, we'll take our copper and we'll counter wrap it. And you want to kind of work it through there so you're not trapping those underneath that wire. Get it right in there through those feathers, and then secure it. And always good to kind of have a older pair of scissors on hand just to chop out this bigger thread, this bigger wire. Just don't want to destroy your good scissors. It's really important to have a nice sharp pair of scissors. It just makes the job so much easier. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab a piece of pheasant tail fibers here, and you want to cut off about 6 or 7 fibers. And originally when we tied this pattern, it didn't have rubber legs, but now days we got to have flies with rubber legs on them, or it just doesn't seem viable. But you don't need to put rubber legs on this, but I'm gonna put rubber legs on it just to for demonstration purposes. So on both sides here, your pheasant tail, lay it in there and get them as even as you can. And you can kind of pull them back down around the body and get those fibers down, lay it down nice and tight, and then chop out the excess. And then work your thread back to the base of the body there. So our next item is a thin piece of Wopsy thin skin. So this is great for doing backs on stonefly nymphs and caddis, mayfly nymphs, wrapping bodies. It just comes in a wide variety of designs and colors. This happens to be a black-brown gator. So what we'll do is we'll lay this in, and we'll bind it down. And then we'll take our rubber legs and we'll lay these up on top. Just double them up like so. Lay them up evenly on top of your fly and just make a thread wrap there. A couple thread wraps and you can get them up on top and move them around where you need them. And chop the loop there and pull them down to get them in place on the side of the body. Where you like them. And then you can bind those in place, pulling tight. Okay, so we're going to start to form the top portion of our stonefly here, the thorax. So this tends to get to be a little bit bigger, so we want to apply a little bit more dubbing to our thread. And again, the same color as our body. This kind of helps you splay the legs out too and get them even and proportionate. I'm going to put just a little bit more on there. Okay. And next, we're going to pull this up over the top. We're going to double it up. To form the wing pads. And that will be the first one. So it'll look like this. Try and get as even as you can. Bind that in place. We'll be able to manipulate those rubber legs a little bit more. We'll take a little bit more dubbing. We'll lay it right in between. And again, pull that back, double it up on itself to form the second wing case. And pull it down back behind the bead. Bind it down, and then this stuff is really super strong, this thin skin, so you can pull really tight on it, stretch it out, try and get as much of it chopped out of there as you can, and then you can wind your thread and really get it bound down behind that bead. And then we're going to finish it off with just a little bit different tone of dubbing. This is some more ice dubbing, but in golden brown. This is just going to give it kind of a two-tone look instead of being all one color. You don't need a whole lot. And again, you can manipulate the colors to your liking. We'll just lay that in. That will give us a leg spacing, add a little bit different color to the fly, and then bury the rest of that thread behind the tungsten bead. And then you can make a couple half hitches here to get it all secured. Watch so you don't trap your legs in there. Chop that off your thread. Now you just can fine tune it a little bit. Go careful with your legs. Just kind of start trimming them real slow until you get a length that you like with them. Looks proportionate. And then we're going to take just a little bit of this Solares. And we're going to coat the top of these wing pads. It's going to give it a little bit more gloss and shine. And again, it's going to add some weight to the fly. Stoneflies are typically fished on or near the bottom. You know, this one is designed to, to be curled up and to be, floating, with the current. So just blast that and you are done with the rolling stone. So there it is. That's a good Skwala pattern to fish on the Yakima in February, March, and April. And again, tied in a wide variety of different colors to suit any stonefly. Really nice to put together. Super, super sharp hook. So thanks for viewing, tuning in, and also for sharing.